People have been wondering, what is flow drawing? It's kind of like doodling. I used to call it doodling until people said to me, no, these are drawings. But they're not drawings in the traditional sense, like what you can see behind me, where it's something recognizable that you begin with the idea of making something particular. However, it can end up to look like something that you recognize. But the point of flow drawing is that it's an intuitive practice that you start with no plan and with no aim to make a perfect product or a perfect image. And why would you not want to make a perfect looking image? Well, the point of it is to really get in touch with your intuition, and the reason you want to do that is to calm your nervous system and to not keep striving for a perfect outcome. In life, we seem to strive, a lot of us, for that, and it's a really exhausting, draining, and a constant fight or flight energy that runs through your system if you're constantly trying to make life perfect or yourself perfect, because then you're trying to make the world perfect and expecting the world to be perfect, and it just isn't. That's the truth of it. So this practice, as simple as it is and as untraditional as it is, it's very profound in that in 10 minutes you can change your nervous system, and you can create a daily practice which then builds up this calmness inside you, and you've always got this little tool to go back to whenever you feel like there's emotions running through you, or you are trying to grapple with something in your head, or you're feeling that striving towards perfectionism. And slowly over time, it allows you to get okay with not being perfect and with not getting everything right. I just begin and I follow the energy out of my hand, and that's really what flow drawing is all about. And it becomes a practice. And of course, I've actually been doing this since I was a little toddler, drawing on the walls in my house, because I realize now, looking back, that I drew as a child and painted and created because it was a way to sort out my thinking about the world and a way to get away from the world. It was a respite. It was a secluded, safe space for me to go into, where I could just drop into a flow state, I guess. And children do that all the time, and this practice takes us back to that kind of experience, so that it can particularly have effect on our nervous systems and give us sanctuary, like a meditation. But there's magic that happens between your hand, the pen, and the paper that changes your nervous system. Science is now proving this. There's lots of research on it, but I have the proof because I've done it for myself. I continue to do it, and that's why I want to share it with people, because it's a magical tool that is more than doodling. It's not about making little images. It is really about trusting the energy that comes out of your hand and learning to trust the unknown, to lean into uncertainty, to be okay with imperfection, in order to really calm your nervous system and then be able to live life with more flow. And at the end of the day, as many people have told me in my inflow space, and what I've experienced, is we become better people because we've given ourselves time to connect with our innate creativity, which we all have access to. Whether you think of yourself as creative or not, we all have access to this potent creative force that is inside us, that we are part of. It's part of nature. We are nature, and therefore we are creative. So I invite you to step in and join in with this very simple practice. All you need is 10 minutes a day to begin with, and you will see that time becomes distorted, and you may want to continue longer, and hopefully you start to push through little barriers. You learn, you grow, you learn about yourself, and you give yourself this tool as a little sanctuary that you can go to. I'll be sending little messages like this with a doodle prompt, and you'll follow along with me. So let me show you what it's about. It could be starting off like this, which doesn't really look like anything. And you might say, oh, well, you know, a child at school could do that. Yes, absolutely. It could be like this. And these are drawings that people have done in workshops with me. They don't look like anything you really might want to look at, except if you look closer. Look at that fascinating shape with the, I want to say, like alveoli of the digestive tract or something like that, and you start to see forms that look like something in nature. if you use your imagination, here you can see a repetitive pattern. Maybe it starts to calm your nervous system. If you look at it and you see the repetition is very calming for the nervous system. Here's some squiggly wigglies, which really don't look like much. But if you were to do a whole page of that and then color it in, imagine. So the biggest question that we ask is, what if? And we stay with curiosity and fascination all the time. We learn to not judge. A judgment-free mind is a mind that can be truly creative. And I'll teach you some statements to work to change your mind about how you think about what you're making. And this eventually changes your mind about how you think about yourself and the world. So that's the beginning and how it could start. Do you remember, doodling? What do you do with your hands when you are speaking to someone on the phone, if you ever do that these days? Does your hand get busy, and do you start making little squiggles and marks and little doodles? And what if you expanded those and made that into a practice? So that's really what I did and what I've done. It began as a practice, not a practice, it began as a desperate measure to relieve stress for myself when I was working in television production. And here's a photo of me with the crew in the streets of Johannesburg, and that's my script. And I'm pretty certain that if I got a moment to sit quietly, I would be doodling on the script. And my scripts were full of these little doodles to relieve stress and to process my thinking. With a creative brain, I guess, things coming at me all the time. I've got a million ideas, and when I get quiet and I do this scratching on paper, scribbling, moving my hand, my pen on paper, it starts to calm everything down and hyper focus my attention so that my nervous system can calm down. And when we're in a calm state, when we're in the parasympathetic state of our nervous system, we can then think very clearly and make really good decisions. So I use this often then when I was working, and then when I left television, I started sharing these with people, and because the cameraman actually said to me, "Oh, those are amazing, you should sell them," of course. So it inspired me to realize that many people actually have a response to these drawings because they're not realistic. And so I did make a little book called The Doodle Journal, a coloring in book and journal for grown-ups, but kids actually loved it too. And what children told me was they loved the fact that they could imagine what they saw, that it wasn't a dog or a giraffe or a flower, and they could just make up what it was. So a lot of people bought the book and they colored it in, and they were very grateful, and they reported back to me that coloring in definitely helped their nervous systems and made them feel a lot calmer. We know this, the research is there, it's nothing new, but coloring in things that don't look particularly like anything gave people the opportunity for their imaginations also to work a little and to give them some stimulation. So all of the, my scribbles became something that people could play with, and look how different they all are. Nothing is the same, and they really are just, a lot of lines and shapes and things all just put together. And if you looked at it, it's not really, anything compositionally perfect, but I've been doing this for years. So when you start doing the flow drawing adventure with me, don't expect to make these kinds of drawings. Don't expect to be completely happy. It's a practice to be happy with an imperfect, and to trust and know that you are building a practice for yourself first, not for other people to look at or to make into a book. This was actually, I moved to the United States, and so when you do this, you can do this in any size book or whatever. So these were drawings that I made while I was studying for my massage license, because I had to re-license, and so that was what I did in order to help me learn. It's another benefit of this process, or the benefit of doodling. It's given a really bad rap in schools when kids look like they're not paying attention and their heads are down and they're drawing. But in actual fact, it's been proven that doodling like this improves your focus and your ability to learn and retain information and recall it. And then I want to just say that you can go as big or as small. This is pretty big, and this is obviously days of work. This is not a 10-minute drawing, but this is where a 10-minute drawing can go to. And just look at the variety. So yes, I've made these into professional drawings because I'm a professional artist. And yes, it's a practice that I've been doing for over 2 decades. And I'm inviting you to make your own flow drawings. You find your marks that make sense to you and that give you pleasure to make. One of the best marks to make is a circle. It's very soothing for the nervous system. Repetition is an incredible thing for the nervous system. And I'm going to teach you to use this practice as a way to process emotions, to let go of perfection, to be okay with the world and yourself as it is and with the work that you make, and to not be striving to make things perfect. It's a big relief when we don't have to do that. Can you feel that in your body? So if you want to sign up, and this has piqued your curiosity, I would love you to begin. We do begin on the 1st of September, and I realize in America that this is Labor Day, so it's a really big day and everyone's on holiday. But you can start on the 2nd of September. I will be sending out the emails on the 1st to everybody else across the world. But if you're in the States and you're taking the day off and you're busy with family, you can start on the 2nd. So if you are very keen to find out more about yourself through the act of making in this way, and getting comfortable with imperfection and comfortable with not knowing, so that you can be calmer and live as a better person and make a better life for yourself, I invite you to go and sign up at inflowproject.com/adventure. Sign up today so that you can start on Monday or Tuesday, whenever you wish to. Okay, these will only be up for a short space of time. They won't be up forever. So do go and sign up now. I hope to see you in your inbox next week. Take care.